here I am 1 year from college and I tear my ACL. They're telling me I'm not going to be able to play college football, and I'm thinking, that sucks. Team Rehab comes along and says, hey, let's get to work. They don't rely on routine programs. It was all about me and my dream to play again. Now I'm visiting Ivy League schools, and oh yeah, I'll be playing. I could have given up. I'm glad I went to Team Rehab because they didn't. Team works.
Team Rehabilitation. Visit team-rehab.com.
To move forward with conviction, vision matters. We are Forvis, a forward-thinking professional services firm that uses our unmatched vision to prepare for what's ahead. Our commitment to forward vision is delivered on an expanded platform and driven by deep industry expertise, vast resources, and innovative advisory services. Forward vision, it's in our actions and our name.
My favorite part about working in the warehouse is just the opportunity to come down every day and feel the equipment that's getting packed up. Really see the equipment go from something that someone's dreamed about having at a youth program to something that they're actually going to be able to give to their kids. Good Sports works with equipment manufacturers to take in donations of excess equipment that they have. Everything ranging from soccer balls, footballs, basketballs, to workout equipment and training equipment. We then take that equipment and we are able to distribute it to youth programs and schools across the country. Equipment vendors are the lifeblood of what Good Sports does. Without their support every year, we wouldn't be able to do what we do.
They're providing us with the ability to be able to service organizations throughout the country. Through their generosity, a lot of kids benefit in the long run.
Our team has grown exponentially recently. It's because of all our great partnerships with our equipment vendors and with the community organizations.
The growth means that Good Sports is servicing more kids, more organizations. Our inventory continues to grow, and so does Good Sports.
Over the last several decades, we at Midwest Orthopedics at Rush have depended upon our donors to help fortify our investment in translational research. Translational research is our ability to identify a problem in the clinic, take it to the laboratory, and bring it back to you, the patient, and affect change and improve the quality and outcomes of your care.
A lot of times we don't even see the benefits of our research come to the light of day in the clinical setting. With the use of donor funding, we've been able to accelerate a lot of that. And one example is with personalized medicine, where we're taking patients' blood, spinning it down, and taking different factors out of it to treat different conditions in ways that we really never had available to us in the past. And this is a way to really move things forward and offer different options to patients that didn't exist before.
Through the generosity of our donors over the years, we truly have had one of the greatest impacts of any department in the country and had this effect both nationally and internationally. So thank you.
I've worked for a lot of really large organizations where values were fancy words on a pretty poster. At SCA Health, that is the striking difference. We live and breathe those every day.
They are always talking about patient care, high quality care. I've never heard of a company talk so much about their patients.
It is a company that consistently looks to improve. All I want to do is more for a company that takes care of me like that.
My voice is getting heard. I make a difference where I work. What input I have, they're looking at and they're listening to.
If you want quality of life, if you want room for growth, and if you want to be in a place where you know that you're safe and you know that you're keeping your patients safe, I would recommend it.
Putting in the work at SCA means being recognized. The promotions are there, the education is there, the next steps are there. I'm proof that the resources, the encouragement, the mentorship is there.
I've been here 11 years. It is the SCA values that have kept me here.
It's one of the first companies I worked for that has invested in me.
I come to work every day and I know things are going to go well.
I mean, it's the best company I've ever worked for.
They allow me to be who I am. I couldn't ask for anything more.
Good evening to you all, and thank you for joining us for Episode 5 of the Chicago Sports Summit. I'm Dr. Brian Cole, Managing Partner of Midwest Orthopedics at Rush, head team physician for the Chicago Bulls and co-team physician for the Chicago White Sox and Chicago Dogs. I'm also the director of the Chicago Sports Summit. After tonight, we have one more episode, and it features U.S. Olympic women's hockey team member Jessie Kampfer. She will have a lot to tell us about competing in the Beijing Olympics against the Canadians earlier this year, and about breaking barriers in women's sports. You can watch this final episode next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. For more details, please check out chicagosportssummit.com. And as you may know, the Chicago Sports Summit benefits organizations that we are very passionate about. Because we believe strongly in the life-changing power of sports and physical activity for children's long-term health, proceeds from this year's summit will benefit Good Sports. They provide sports equipment and resources to underserved Chicago students. This year's summit will also benefit orthopedic research at Rush to help provide solutions to help us live pain-free and active lifestyles. Donations are now being taken on our website. Now I'd like to take a moment to thank our presenting sponsors who have helped us by providing generous funding for the summit. They are Team Rehab and Leopardo.
Thank you, Dr. Cole. As a physical therapy company with locations in Illinois and Indiana, we are honored to care for your orthopedic patients. Together, we are getting people back to doing what they love. We are proud to be the presenting sponsor of the 2022 Chicago Sports Summit.
Leopardo Companies is proud to be a presenting sponsor of the summit for the 6th year. As a construction and development company, we enjoy working alongside Dr. Cole and his team building new locations for better patient care and access.
For a full list of sponsors, please visit chicagosportssummit.com. Now I'd like to introduce you to one of my teammates and partners, Dr. Shane No. Dr. No will introduce our guest for tonight's episode.
Thanks, Brian. It's great to be here. Most of you know the brand Gatorade, and we naturally associate with sports and athletes, right? Well, that didn't just happen by magic. So how did that happen? And how does a brand like Gatorade stay on top with changing consumer tastes and lots of competition? I'd like you to meet Jeff Kearney, a great guy and the global head of marketing for Gatorade. He is joined by Dr. Cole, who also hosts a podcast called Sports Medicine Weekly. Let's hear what they have to say.
Hello, I'm Dr. Brian Cole, this year's director of the 2022 Chicago Sports Summit. And today I have the privilege of sitting with Jeff Kearney. Jeff, it's great to see you.
Thank you. Great to see you as well.
Now, Gatorade has an incredible storied past. Gatorade's been around since 1965, right?
Correct. Yeah.
It goes back, as I understand it, to the Florida Gators, right? So
Gatorade.
Yeah, they had a number of athletes that were sidelined in one year and named after their mascot. Is that right?
Well, yeah, the 1965 team, they were known for being an easy W if you were going against them. And Dr. Cade, the head coach, Ray Graves, went to the science department and said, our players are wilting in the heat. We're falling apart in the second half. Can you help us out? And here we are today. The rest is history. They went 9-2, won the Orange Bowl, and
yeah, that's a great way to start a company for sure. And that also goes through the What About Mike campaign, right? Or Be Like Mike campaign.
Be Like Mike, yeah.
Right? That had to be sometime in the 90s.
Yeah, Michael Jordan's the first athlete that Gatorade signed, 1991, right before he won his first championship, and we came out with that TVC. It was before my time, but I was certainly a fan of it, the summer of 91.
I mean, you oversee these corporate partnerships with MLB, MLS, NHL, basically every major organization, right? But my understanding is that there's been this evolution to start focusing on colleges, NCAA. Is that where things are going right now with Gatorade?
Yeah, well, we were born on an NCAA sideline, so college athletics has always been a critical part of our roster and our approach. We today have about 60 Division I NCAA partnerships, many that have spanned for decades, 30, 40 years, and certainly with the University of Florida for 57 years now. So yeah, college athletics has always been mission critical to our business, both because of the athlete reach, varsity athletes, male, female, doesn't matter the sport, as well as their summer programs, camps, clubs, and clinics, and a great opportunity to reach kids through that.
You know, I've always been enamored with Gatorade. It's an enormous business for our listeners. It's basically a $6 billion space. I think I read that Gatorade has about 70% of that market share, which is pretty incredible. distributed in 80 countries, and you oversee all of those relationships that relate to that. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have an amazing team, great sales teams, brand teams, innovation teams. I get the privilege of managing our rosters, so the athletes, teams, leagues, and events around the world. I've had some different roles, wore some different hats at Gatorade, but for the past 7-8 years, I get to work with some great sports partnerships.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. How do you get this job? This is a dream job for someone who loves to do this kind of thing in marketing and brand development.
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 3. My mom was one of 5. My father's one of 5. And my brother and I, he's 2 years older, the first 2 in our family to go to college. So a little bit raw coming. I didn't know how to pursue a job, the right things to do. I majored in communications and sociology at the University of Iowa. And I was that kid who wrote a letter to every single team. I'm old enough that email didn't exist at the time, and really didn't know what I was doing. And I ended up working at a bank, and 5 weeks into working at that bank, I'd stare at the clock every day, and it was like a movie scene. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And one school wrote me back, a guy named Nick Jose. I've never met him, at the University of Nebraska, and said, you need to go back and get your degree in sport management. There were 3 or 4 grad programs in the country at the time. Got a Master of Science degree in sport management. From there, went to the Big Ten Conference for a couple years. Conference USA when it was Chicago-based for a couple years. Mike Slive, SEC commissioner for a time, was the lead there. Volunteered on weekends for the Chicago Bears. Eventually decided I wanted to go corporate. Went to an agency where Gatorade was my account. 5 years after that, here I am. I'm on year 18 at Gatorade.
Yeah, it's nearly 2 decades. If you talk to your peers and your friends, and I know that your colleagues are also probably going to watch this, but this has to be a dream job for you.
It's a lot of fun. I think the business card sometimes looks a little sexier than it can be on a day-to-day basis. It's a lot of negotiations. I love the thrill of the chase. And I'm a gym rat. I always dreamed, like a lot of kids do, male, female, of going to the stadium for work. So I love that part of it, being in the tunnels, being in the locker rooms, being on the sidelines, being part of the action. I clearly don't have the makeup of some of the other guests of the Chicago Sports Summit this year.
So no worries.
But I've had the privilege of being to a handful of Super Bowls and NBA All-Star games and NBA dunk contests and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So what's the magic sauce? How has Gatorade remained so relevant on the sidelines today in spite of all the intense competition in this space?
Well, I think there's many factors. I think one of them is we trust the science. At the end of the day, we need to be able to walk into a facility, walk into a locker room and say, if you think there's something that works better than Gatorade, prove it. We won't disrespect the relationship we have with you or the players you're charged with caring for by bringing you something that doesn't work. So first and foremost, we can lean on that. Secondarily, we build a relationship. We listen. We have a portfolio that spans about 330 different products today. So if people want low calorie, high calorie, they want protein, shakes, bars, chews, gels, plant-based proteins, whatever the athlete needs, we think that we can address that. We have a service model that helps execute that.
So I know a lot of your responsibility is sort of managing the partnerships, right? And you work with a number of high-level athletes that authenticate your product line and your brand.
Yep.
When they're approached by all these different companies, what does Gatorade bring to the table to sort of develop these partnerships, to get these people to commit to you? And what do you give, and what do they get? And how do they compare you to these, other opportunities that they see?
Yeah, I think it starts with trust. Again, leading with that science, showing them the white papers. And our goal is the same as theirs. The first thing we'll do when we work with an athlete is, hey, what are your goals? What are your hopes and dreams? Do you want to win championships, MVPs, gold medals, NCAA titles? And we start at the Gatorade Sports Science Institute. We'll take an athlete in, we'll bring him to the lab. They might say, hey, I don't have an issue. I really don't know what we're doing here. It's kind of like taking your car to get the oil checked. We just take a look under the hood. We teach them about their body, because between the lines, that's what's most important. And we can be an added value partner there. If we help them succeed and they win MVPs and they win those titles, we become a part of their inner circle, part of their family, and someone, again, that they can continue to trust. So,
I can think back to, I've been in a very sort of privileged position in having the opportunity to manage athletes from all walks, not just professional, college athletes, adolescents. They're all great because, they have this interest in sports and it creates balance for them in the younger age. And then it's obviously a career and a job as they go through the process. I can think of a number of stories that were, really impactful to me. Think about, your experiences over the last 18 years. Have you had any unique, awesome experiences in dealing with athletes at any level that really stand out?
Oh boy, you're asking me to pick favorite child. They all are unique in their own way. I've had the privilege of working with Michael Jordan as a fan. That's always been.
Did he ever show you his hands?
Yeah, you shake hands.
There isn't a finger that's straight anymore, Michael Jordan. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, he's super competitive, keeps in shape, plays a lot of golf. Abby Wambach, phenomenal. You learn about them as people. The language they speak is interesting. If you ever get them in a room together, it's like their body language. They just get things that maybe we don't. Not that we're not successful in our own rights in what we do, but how they approach the game, the killer instinct they have, it's something where it's just unique. It's fun to see and experience.
Now, I know that you guys have been very involved with sort of diversity, equity, inclusion, and also normalization of female sports, women in sports, and that's been a really big challenge for us. I know you recently signed Paige Buchers, is that right? And that was all through the NIL initiatives at the NCAA level. That must have been pretty exciting.
Yeah, we pride ourselves on people seeing themselves in our brand. A lot of people might look at Gatorade or sports nutrition companies and say, you know what, that's for a 300-pound NFL lineman. It's not for me as a weekend warrior or somebody who plays pickleball or weekend volleyball, whatever it might be. So we want people to look at our roster, black, white, male, female, gay, straight, team sport, individual sport, and resonate with them. And when the aperture opened a little bit wider now for college athletes to be able to sign partnership agreements, we looked at that. Our strategy didn't change. We have a checklist of things that we look for with athlete partners, and Paige checked all those boxes. She's championship caliber. She's aspirational. She has a phenomenal character. She cares about her community. One of the things that we did with our partnership, she wanted to align with a group called Good Sports, and it provides access to sports for young girls and women.
We're very familiar with Good Sports.
Yeah. So all that stuff matters, and we're very proud that our first collegiate athlete signing was a female athlete. We thought that was very representative of trying to demonstrate that Gatorade truly wants to showcase, again, all levels of play, genders, ethnicities, whatever it might be.
When NIL, when name, image, likeness came on the scene, you must have seen that as an amazing opportunity for you, right? And I mean, you certainly have the professional population is very visible, but getting into the collegiate level had to be really monumental. Did you think there was going to be any shortcomings with these initiatives in terms of the effects on the athletes? There was so much discussion that went around about this. In fact, our previous years for the summit, we've talked about that. But I think it's proving to be. It's proving to be a good model. Where do you sit with all that? And did it exceed your expectations?
I think we're still learning. I think we're incredibly pleased with the athletes we have that are current collegiate athletes. I think the one thing, I said the selection criteria is very similar for college athletes as it is for professional Olympic athletes, but there is a critical difference. They're a student athlete. So we have to be very cognizant of the time that we're asking of them. They have to maintain their grades in the classroom. Not every kid goes on to play professionally, so they're pursuing a degree. We have to be super sensitive to that. I also think, the pro athletes, the brand building that these kids are doing now before they even get to that elite level, trying to decipher, are they just chasing a dollar? Or are they really being sensitive to what products they use, what products they believe in, and really building their brand?
I'm a little bit of a science nerd, and the one thing I've been enamored with from Gatorade is that, they've done an amazing job of sort of connecting science to the consumer, and it's not just like any consumer. You guys do it with protein bars, you do it with drinks, supplements, protein, shakes, RDLs, all that stuff. Yeah. Just give the listeners a little bit of an overview of how you guys invest in science, and how you validate these new products. And does everything undergo validation, or is it just, well, someone else has this, we need to meet the market?
Yeah, it's an absolute privilege to work for the Gatorade brand because of all those things. We do have that validation, and I want to make sure and everyone knows I'm not a scientist, so I'll do my best to kind of just articulate the things that I'm very close to. Again, this is a product that it wasn't created in a boardroom. It was created on a football field to solve an athlete need. So Gatorade has a tremendous legacy and responsibility to protect a category that we, in essence, created. And the Gatorade Sports Science Institute, GSSI, was created in 1988. It's a physical bricks and mortar laboratory. We have multiple locations now. We have one at IMG Academy that's surrounded by 1,300 student athletes across varying age ranges, different sports. We also do a lot of field testing. So we can go into a team. If professional team X, college team Y reaches out and says, we have an issue, whether it's a sleep study, whether it's energy before performance, whether it's looking at recovery times. We have a network of close to 200,000 sports medicine professionals from around the globe that GSSI can tap into to bring them in, and we provide those services to help those teams perform better. So, and we also make them part of the product process. Like you said, every single piece of innovation that shows up on that shelf, we want to make sure that a consumer, mom, whoever is buying it, can trust it to make sure that it's going to help them do whatever they're trying to do.
I would venture to say that Gatorade has this footprint, this stronghold, this stake in the ground, because you were sort of first to market, in the 60s. I don't know if there was anything else at that time.
Nope.
I think I was 3 years old. I don't know. You weren't even born yet, right?
No, I was not.
Okay, so there we declare our ages. So, I guess, as we finish up, what's next? What's around the corner? There are so many companies now in this space. Last count, you guys were about 70% of the market, in your area of expertise. How are you going to stay relevant as you look around corners? What is Gatorade going to do to, what's the next thing that they're going to do to maintain their position of strength?
Yeah, I think we tell ourselves someday somebody's going to make Gatorade obsolete. It better be us. So the innovation engine that we have, and innovation is trial and error, there's a lot of things that we do that you never see, that the consumer never sees, because if we can't validate the science behind it, it goes in the other pile. So we are working every day in our laboratories. We have phenomenal scientists around the world. Our partnership roster, we tap into them every single day. So we're continuing to learn, evolve based on those needs. And in addition, just our roster evolution is really tied to that athlete. You talked about it before with the NCAA level, where the power the athletes have today between free agency, NCAA transfer portals, building their brands via social media. They don't need publicists. Well, some of them need publicists.
Right.
But this unfiltered access you have to your heroes or your teammates, the direct interaction a consumer has with a professional athlete or a college athlete, that power, the brand building they're doing, it's something that shame on us if we're not paying close attention to that and working more closely with athletes than ever before.
There was a transition. Gatorade, I think, used to be owned by Quaker, if I'm not mistaken,
Correct.
right? And then PepsiCo came in, not too distant past. Did that offer more opportunities, associating with a very large brand in that setting?
Yeah. So first it was Stokely Van Cap, then Quaker Oats, and then PepsiCo. And PepsiCo's a phenomenal organization. And their dedication to research is unparalleled as well. So they're a great parent company for us. The distribution horsepower, there's a PepsiCo truck on every street in the country. So we can help put our products within arm's reach of every point of sweat, every football field, every athletic facility. We want to make sure if people are sweating that our products are nearby.
Yeah, I can safely tell you that I've been in hundreds of training rooms at virtually every level, even in my kids' training rooms, and I don't think there's a training room I've ever been in where you don't see Gatorade. So obviously you're everywhere, and
Love that.
Complacency isn't part of your vocabulary. So there's a reason you have the job you do. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to be with us for this year's summit. I really enjoyed talking to you, and for me, learning about sort of the business of sports, which was the initiation for this summit, and then hearing how you guys address the needs from a scientific perspective is actually really validating. So you're doing a lot of good. You really are.
Thank you. And I can tell you too, we talked about were we around when this product was invented. We're doing more and more customization and collaborations to personalize the product experience for athletes, again, of all ages, shapes, sizes. So somebody like you, if you're a marathon runner, if you're a tennis player, you can customize your bottle.
I'm not a marathon runner.
We can create custom things for you to meet your needs, and we're very proud of that. But no, thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Well, thanks for coming. That was great, Jeff. Gatorade is an amazing success story. And to all of you, thank you for joining us tonight. Please tune in to our last episode next Tuesday at 7 p.m. We will be speaking to U.S. Women's Hockey Olympian Jessie Comfer. Please check out chicagosportssummit.com for more information, and remember, it's not too late to donate to the Chicago Sports Summit Foundation. See you next week, and thank you for joining us.
My favorite part about working in the warehouse is just the opportunity to come down every day and feel the equipment that's getting packed up. Really see the equipment go from something that someone's dreamed about having at a youth program to something that they're actually going to be able to give to their kids. Good Sports works with equipment manufacturers to take in donations of excess equipment that they have. Everything ranging from soccer balls, footballs, basketballs, to workout equipment and training equipment. We then take that equipment and we are able to distribute it to youth programs and schools across the country. Equipment vendors are the lifeblood of what Good Sports does. Without their support every year, we wouldn't be able to do what we do.
They're providing us with the ability to be able to service organizations throughout the country. Through their generosity, a lot of kids benefit in the long run.
Our team has grown exponentially recently. It's because of all our great partnerships with our equipment vendors and with the community organizations.
The growth means that Good Sports is servicing more kids, more organizations. Our inventory continues to grow, and so does Good Sports.
To move forward with conviction, vision matters. We are Forvis, a forward-thinking professional services firm that uses our unmatched vision to prepare for what's ahead. Our commitment to forward vision is delivered on an expanded platform and driven by deep industry expertise, vast resources, and innovative advisory services. Forward vision, it's in our actions and our name.
Over the last several decades, we at Midwest Orthopedics at Rush have depended upon our donors to help fortify our investment in translational research. Translational research is our ability to identify a problem in the clinic, take it to the laboratory, and bring it back to you, the patient, and affect change and improve the quality and outcomes of your care.
A lot of times we don't even see the benefits of our research come to the light of day in the clinical setting. With the use of donor funding, we've been able to accelerate a lot of that. And one example is with personalized medicine, where we're taking patients' blood, spinning it down, and taking different factors out of it to treat different conditions in ways that we really never had available to us in the past. And this is a way to really move things forward and offer different options to patients that didn't exist before.
Through the generosity of our donors over the years, we truly have had one of the greatest impacts of any department in the country and had this effect both nationally and internationally. So thank you.
Every picture that I take is a prayer. It was only 15 months ago that I had a stroke. I was scared for sure, but these were the cards that I was dealt.
When Sal first came to Team Rehab, he was in pretty rough shape, but I knew we could push him.
The big thing that Jake has done for me is give me the confidence that I can do it. It's a partnership.
Sal's still a work in progress, but he's getting better.
A work in progress? I like the sound of that.
Team Rehabilitation. Visit team-rehab.com.